I'd like to call to order this regular council meeting in the town of Saugeen Shores. The first order of business is a declaration of pecuniary interest, and remind you of your responsibility to do so now or when it arises on the agenda. Undeclared, then the next item on the agenda is adoption of minutes. And it's been moved by Councillor Grace and seconded by Councillor Dave Mayette that council adopt the minutes of council meeting of April 27th, 2015 as presented. Any questions or comments to the minutes or motion? All in favor then? Opposed, if any, that's carried. The next item is adoption of the Committee of the Whole minutes of April the 27th, and it's been moved by Vice Deputy Mayor Huber, seconded by Councillor Grace. The council will note and file the Committee of the Whole minutes of April the 27th, 2015. Any questions or comments to this motion or the minutes? If not, all in favor? Opposed, if any, that's carried. Next item then is a report of Committee report of Committee of the Whole. It's a General Government report of April the 27th, 2015. And it's been moved by Councillor Rich and seconded by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau that Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores adopts the General Government report dated May the 11th, 2015, recommending that 1, that the Port Elgin Farmers Market be deemed a place that is authorized under Section 2.4 of Bylaw 98-2004, being an exemption for individual vendors to obtain a business license. 2, that the Town of Saugeen Shores has no objection to BQA wine being sold and samples being offered at the Port Elgin Business Improvement Area's Farmers Market. And 3, that Council supports a 2015 capital budget amendment to add a project to purchase a used Dryatron dehumidification unit together with the associated mechanical equipment from the town of Caledon and a retrofit of the electrical system and the facilities alterations at Centennial Pool necessary to facilitate its installation. And Council authorizes the direct purchase of the required equipment from the town of Caledon at an upset limit amount not to exceed $40,000, the single source contract of installation of the mechanical equipment to Dale Thermal Group Incorporated, and the required electrical upgrades to BJS Electric of Southampton as outlined in this report. Any questions or comments to the motion? All in favor then? Opposed, if any, that's carried. The next item on the agenda is an Environmental Services and Transportation report, and it's been moved by Councillor Mike Myatt and seconded by Councillor Matheson. The Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores adopts the Environmental Services report dated May the 11th, 2015, recommending 1, that Allen Hastings Limited be awarded the contract for the Saugeen River Bridge Repair Project, tender number 2015-6320-5130, in the amount of $128,637, plus applicable HST, and that the Mayor and Clerk be authorized to sign the necessary tender documents. 2, that permission be granted to the BIA to close Green Street from Godrich Street westerly to BMTS Alley every Wednesday from June the 3rd to September the 30th to facilitate the farmers market. 3, that Council approves the installation of the identified bike racks and planters in the downtown Port Elgin. And 4, that Council adopts a water and sanitary sewer servicing master plan 2014 report. Any questions or comments to this motion? If not, all in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. The next item on the agenda is the Community Services, Parks and Recreation report, and it's been moved by Councillor Grace and seconded by Councillor Dave Myatt. The Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores adopts the Community Services, Parks and Recreation report dated April the 27th, 2015, recommending that Council support the recommendation to position 5 buoys at the Southampton beach to define a safe swim zone where watercraft is restricted in operation. Questions or comments to this motion? All in favor then? Opposed, if any? That's carried. The next one is a Protective Services report, and it's been moved by Councillor Grace and seconded by Vice Deputy Mayor Huber. The Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores adopts the Protective Services report dated April the 27th, 2015, recommending that staff be authorized to proceed with the installation of 2 Eaton electric vehicle charging stations at locations in the downtown areas of Southampton and Port Elgin, and furthermore that the Saugeen Shores parking bylaw be updated in the next amendment to provide a definition of electric vehicles and restrict designated parking spaces to electric vehicles only at all times. Any questions or comments to that motion? All in favor then? Opposed, if any? That's carried. The next is a Committee of the Whole report, and it's been moved by Councillor Grace, seconded by Councillor Dave Mayette. The Council adopts the Committee of the Whole report dated April the 27th, 2015, recommending that the Council supports the correspondence submitted by Sylvia Jones, MPP, Dufferin-Caledon, regarding Bill 36, respecting Private Property Act. 2, that Council accepts the direction of the Saugeen Shores Police Service with respect to providing a costing for police services to the town of South Bruce Peninsula. Questions or comments to that? Deputy Mayor Charbonneau.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just a minor thing. I think there's just an omission in item 2. I think it should read that Council accepts the direction of the Saugeen Shores Police Services Board.
Okay. I will add that with the permission of the mover and seconder. Grace and Councillor Mayette. Okay. Oh. Name with that. Councillor Mayette. Dave Mayette.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just with regards to number 1, will we be sending a correspondence back to MPP Sylvia Jones from Caledon Dufferin?
That's normally at the clerk sends a letter saying that Council passes this motion in support of it. That's what
I see. Okay.
Okay. Any further questions? All in favor then? That's carried. The next item on the agenda is a report of the Striking Committee. It's municipal officers. Striking Committee report, and it's been moved by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau, seconded by Councillor Rich. The Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores adopts the Striking Committee report dated April the 29th, 2015, recommending the following. That the following be appointed to the Economic Development Advisory Committee. James Dunlop, Daniel Playfield, Melanie Myers, Jeff Carver, Steve Harris, Cheryl Grace, Dave Mayette. That the following be appointed to the Recreation and Active Transportation Committee. Patrick Gibbons, Jane Kramer, Gord Lamont, Jim Rackley, Karina Serta, Diane Huber, Councillor Representative, Don Matheson, Councillor Representative. There are the 2, that the following be appointed to the Waterfront Ad Hoc Committee. Francis Barrick, Bob Clarence, Julian Galwacki, Minnie Jakes, Nancy Rayner, Neil Minaj, Councillor Representative, Mike Myatt, Councillor Representative. 3, that Councillor Mike Myatt be appointed to replace Councillor Don Madison as the alternate council member on the Municipal Heritage Committee. And 4, that the updated procedural bylaw be presented at an upcoming Committee of the Whole meeting for Council's consideration. The Council consider hosting a community engagement meeting in the spring and fall of each year, starting in August of 2015. Deputy Mayor Huber.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a comment that Councillor Matheson was only replaced because the Heritage Committee meets during the day, and unfortunately he has a job. So he would have only ever been able to serve in my absence in one meeting per year. So we'll get you next time. I did want to ask a question. When we do these appointments, because the other committees, we sort of have a 2-year cycle, these ones will fit in with that timeline, even though they're being appointed a few months later. Yes? And just as a comment, because there is no explanation there, number 5 about the community engagement meeting, I'm very encouraged by us even considering this. It would set up an opportunity for us to just have an open forum. A couple times a year, people could come, and we have a structured sort of idea as to how we could engage in that, but it would set up opportunities for people to talk with us twice a year about whatever is on their minds. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Mike Myatt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had a question about the community engagement meeting, but I think it partially has been answered. So I also think that's a tremendous idea. We do that spring and fall. I'm looking forward to see how the agenda would operate. But I've had a couple of people approach me that were not successful. Just reading on the weekend, they've read council news and minutes, agendas, and so on and so forth, and haven't been appointed. And I guess my question is, would it be possible to receive a copy, an outline of the criteria that is used when the striking committee makes the decisions to appoint committee members. I'd be interested as a councillor seeing that criteria.
We can talk about it, Mike, but just to correct you, the striking committee just makes a recommendation to council. Council does the appointment. That's what this motion is about. It's a recommendation, so this recommends it, and then the appointment is done through this motion. Okay?
I understand that part.
Okay, so, but yeah, sure, we can, I guess.
I just don't know.
I think the clerk's got some minutes. Probably.
I guess just as a councillor, Mr. Mayor, I don't totally understand how it's arrived at.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had that question asked of me, so I indicated I would ask that question.
It's not a perfect science. Mike?
Okay. And the other comment I had was I'm wondering if it would be, and this discussion for another day, I know we have a procedural bylaw coming, but discussion for another day that perhaps, when the striking committee are bringing forth a recommendation that there may be an opportunity prior to coming with the list to council, because it's a little bit awkward talking about it this evening. You have some very good people being appointed to these committees, some with 8, 10, 12 years experience. So but I'm just wondering in the future, and perhaps it's a question for the procedural bylaw, maybe we council may have the opportunity to see the list, whether it's in closed session or in ahead of time.
So you can see the whole list at any time, just see the clerk.
But what I meant, Mr. Mayor, was before it actually comes to the meeting, if there was an opportunity. But we can discuss that at a later date.
Sure.
I might make comment on that with the procedural bylaw.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Comments? Then all in favor of the motion? That's carried. The next item, and I guess there's a little staff report with it, or you want to speak to it a little bit, then I'll read the motion, Stuart. Oh, don't be sorry.
Just a staff report on the capital projects, Adelaide Street and Eugenie Street reconstruction, which includes Bricker Street and Elgin Street as well. So 3 sections of sewer within Port Elgin, and then the Adelaide Street reconstruction from Emerald Drive down to Huron Street. So we received bids as noted on the in there, all within budget, and just looking for approval.
Okay, then I'll read the motion. We'll take any questions. It's been moved by Councillor Rich and seconded by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau that Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores approves the following. 1, that Keith Snyder Construction be awarded the contract for Eugenie Street, Bricker Street, and Elgin Street Sanitary Replacement Project, tender number 2015-6410-5510, in the amount of $213,647.55 plus applicable taxes, HST, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the necessary tender documents. And 2, that Doug Wells Construction be awarded the contract for Adelaide Street Reconstruction Project, tender number 2015-6320-5520, in the amount of $152,267.13 plus applicable HST, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the necessary tender documents. Questions? Vice Deputy Mayor Huber, and then...
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Great news on project number 2 there. Shows a nice additional amount that we budgeted for that we probably aren't going to have to use. Perhaps, is there going to be an opportunity to have another project come forward to grab that extra $100,000? It's already spent.
So we did have several, as I did report before, 2 or 3 projects that did come to light with the frozen water concerns of this winter. So one of them in particular will likely require those funds. I will bring to light that there is an error in the math on project 2 in the financial section. So it's about $5,000 higher than it should be. The recommendation is correct. The section in the financial part is incorrect, and that's why I was somewhat preoccupied when it came to me.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Stuart, I just wanted to commend you for the statement about the Adelaide Street project and including funds to replant vegetation in cooperation with adjacent landowners, and I really appreciate that because I know that's a concern for some folks, and thank you very much.
Yeah, Len's certainly taken a lot of time with this, with the residents there, and made some mail out there. So he's done well. Thank you.
No further questions then. All in favor of the motion? Opposed, if any, that's carried. The next item on the agenda is a notice of motion, and it's there, and it will be presented on the agenda for the next meeting. I'm not going to read it. It's there for you, but it has to do with West Ontario Power. So, and now we'll move to bylaws. So it's next is bylaws cash in lieu of parking bylaw. Excuse me. It's been moved by Councillor Matheson and seconded by Councillor Mike Myatt that bylaw 41-2015, being a bylaw to set the rate of cash in lieu of providing and maintaining parking facilities, is hereby read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed and sealed this 11th day of May 2015. Questions or comments to the motion or bylaw? Not. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Next item is a rezoning for Johnson bylaw, and it's been moved by Councillor Mike Myatt and seconded by Councillor Don Matheson that bylaw 42-2015, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 75-2006, being the comprehensive zoning bylaw for the town of Saugeen Shores by 2246215 Ontario Incorporated /BB Limited Partnership for lands described as 260 Goddard Street, town of Saugeen Shores, is hereby read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed and sealed this 11th day of May 2015. Any questions or comments to that motion or bylaw? Not. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Next item is a confirmatory bylaw, and it's been moved by Councillor Matheson, seconded by Councillor Mike Myatt, that bylaw 43-2015, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores, is hereby read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed and sealed this 11th day of May 2015. All in favor? That's carried. The next item is, it's been moved by Councillor Myatt and seconded by Councillor Grace that this regular council meeting of May the 11th, 2015, hereby adjourn at 10:30. All in favor? That's carried.